This is Carl at National RV Detroit, and I'm going to walk through this 2021 Flagstaff high wall hard side trailer. This is model T21TBHW, and this is basically a pop-up trailer that has hard sides on it instead of canvas. Now, this is not a setup video. You can look at the manufacturer's video. It's excellent. It'll tell you about setting it up and putting it down, all that stuff. I'm just going to go over some of the points of the trailer, and this is kind of a supplemental video to that, okay? All right. So here we have storage, of course. That table sitting there, the plastic table, hangs right on here. Also, there's a griddle that comes with this to cook outside on, and this is the quick connect for it. Excuse me. I think it's stored up here right now. Yes, so there's the griddle, and there's the rail that it sits on, the rack it sits on. And then, of course, you plug in to this quick connect, and it connects it to the LP system, okay? Now, I just want to tell you, this switch raises and lowers the roof. When the roof is in the down position, it latches on both sides right here. I just want to state that you have to make sure you've undone those latches before you start moving it up, because it won't ruin it or anything, but it's just, you have to remember that there's two of them, one on each side, okay? All right, so this one has a dormer, of course. This also has a cassette toilet. This is the cassette here. It's like a portable black tank. You can pull it right out like this, if you can see. I know I'm up pretty close, but you pull that out and you take it and dump it and wash it and then put it back in. And this is the toilet itself right here on the inside. So, use manufacturer's videos to educate yourself if you need to. There's paperwork that comes with this cassette toilet made by Thetford, but if you go on their website, they've got operational videos too that show you how it works, which are excellent. So that's a good source of information. Okay, so obviously you have storage over up here, and then there's a pull-out storage underneath it. You can see that bin slides out on a track, so you got more storage there. You got two deep cycle marine batteries, two 20-pound LP tanks with automatic changeover regulator. Okay, this is your water heater on the outside. Now the switch to control it's inside, but I just wanted to show you that this is where you drain it. It takes an 1 1/16 6-point socket, and then you'll probably have to have a 6 or 8 inch extension too, so you can put your ratchet on there, and that's where you drain it right there. Okay. Always make sure there's water in the water tank before you turn on the water heater. This is your power cord, short cord. It's 30 feet long and 30 amp. We also give you a reducer to reduce that end down to a 20 so you can plug it in at home. These are service panels for the refrigerator. This is your outside shower. This is a sink drain right here. So this is a garden hose fitting right here. So you would put a garden hose on here and then let it drain wherever you want, into a 5-gallon bucket or into a sewer or wherever you're going to let it drain to, okay? Now the most common way to get water to the trailer is through the city water hookup right here. If you're going to a campground that does not have plumbing on the campsites, you can pre-fill your fresh water tank right here, and then use the onboard pump to pump the water, so everything will still work just like you have city water, even though you're pumping out of your tank. This is coax Thru for campground cable or antenna or whatever you want to use it for. This is the actuator that raises and lowers the roof, and it plugs in there obviously. Behind here is your heat pump. I'll show you where the controls are, but it's located underneath the rear off-door side bench. Well, all these benches will have lids on them that are screwed shut. They're screwed with number 2 square-headed screws, so you need a driver to unscrew those screws if you want to access things that you need to service. The water pump is by here also. If you go to the front bench on the off-door side and take the screws out, you'll see the back of the water heater with the bypass valves there. Okay. All right. This is your Wi-Fi Ranger. This gives you public Wi-Fi. Basically, it's a range extender. It boosts your bandwidth. It has a built-in firewall, I'm told. And there is another feature where you can use a SIM card and use it like a cellular phone, and you can do that. But you would have to take care of that through your provider, your cell provider, and obviously you have to pay every month. But the free part of it, The signal booster is all free, so that's what I'll tell you about. Alright, so let's go inside. Okay. Here's your refrigerator. Now this is a three-way refrigerator. This will work on AC power, it'll work on DC power, and it'll work on LP gas. So you turn it on here. Okay, there it goes. So right now it's on auto, right? Just want to get this right here. Turn back on. So that's on DC. Well, let me go through this way. You can barely see because the sun is bright behind me, but the DC light is lit up. That means it'll run off 12 volts. It's running off the battery and the power converter. To get it to run an AC is right here, right? But I've also got it auto lit up. That's what you want to have. Auto means basically there's a hierarchy. It goes from 110 AC. If it can't find that or loses it, unless there's a power failure at the campsite, it'll automatically switch over to gas and light on gas for you. So auto AC is the most common way to use the refrigerator. When you're pulling it down the road, you know, your tow vehicle's alternator's charging the battery, and the battery's running the refrigerator when you're on DC. So you can put it on DC like that and run it down the road, so you can keep everything cool inside when you're in transit. Okay. Also, you want the temperature up all the way, almost always. So, okay, so I'm just going to shut it off here. But like I said, AC auto is the most common the position to have it in. Okay. All right. So while I'm down here, I told you that these are held down by these number 2 square-headed screws, like right there. You could take that top off of this bench, and you'll see the back of the water heater, for example, and the power converter. If you take that one off there, you'll see the air conditioner and the water pump and a water filter canister to put a water filter into if you want to, okay? Okay. So, all right, so this is the power converter. This converts AC to DC power. All right, so you have regular household type circuit breakers right here, like you'd see at home, and they're labeled, right? That's AC. Then it converts the power to DC, and you have regular 12-volt fuses there, if you can see them. And that tag has them all labeled to show what they're for. So that's where the DC power comes from. This also, as long as you're plugged in, this also charges your battery. So it's a battery charger also. So, of course, your battery's 12-volt DC, so it's going to keep the 12-volt charging your battery up all the way. So it's important. Although, let me put it this way, although when you're running things on 12-volt DC, which most things are in the trailer, all the lights, the fan, radio, things like that all runs on DC current. Some things have to be AC, like the microwave has to be AC, and the heat pump air conditioner has to be AC, right? So everything that can run on DC does. So that's why this is important. When you're plugged in, you'll be drawn from the battery, but this will be charging the battery. Okay, hopefully that made sense to you. And if these fuses blow, they'll actually light up, and you can see them through this perforation here also. Okay, now this device here is your carbon monoxide LP gas detector right here. Let me see if I can get it on the camera here. There we go. Okay, so if this detects a carbon monoxide buildup or LP gas, it'll go off. Right? If that happens, you take everybody outside, prop the door open, shut the gas off at the front, and figure out what's going on. Also, if it beeps very slowly, it's telling you your battery's low. I'm going to put it through self-test so you can hear it. LP is good. Carbon monoxide test coming up. This is good now. Low battery alert coming up. And then it's back to green like it should be. Okay, if it's not green, get it serviced. This is where you light your water heater right here. Very simple. This is a GFCI here. So all the plugs in the trailer, including the one on the outside, is wired through this GFCI. So if it pops outside, you're going to reset it here. Okay. Your table obviously folds down and sits on these cleats here, and you put the cushions across it and make another bed out of it. Okay, and I showed you your cassette toilet. Make sure you read up about that. This is your microwave, of course, and fire extinguisher. This little switch here is for the water pump. So you turn it on and off. If you're going to be pumping water out of the tank, you turn that on. When the pressure builds up, the water pump shuts off. every time you open a tap, like right here, you open this, the pressure drops, the pump starts pumping. When you shut it off, the pressure builds and it stops. So when you're drawing from the tank, you leave the pump on. Otherwise, you just keep it off. Okay? Now, so this, I don't know if you can see this well, but the mode button here, you can go through the different options. That's auto, which is what, that's cool auto. So that's air conditioner. Heat auto, this is the furnace. Heat pump, that's using, the heat pump is the air conditioner running backwards. So down to about 35 to 40 degrees outside, you can still use the air conditioner to heat. It just runs in reverse, so to speak. When it gets too cold for that, you can run your furnace. Right? So you've got two ways to get heat here in this trailer. And then you still scroll through and you have off, and so it's off right there. So basically, if you set the temperature for heat and you're using the heat pump, which runs on electricity, of course, it'll only draw the heat out of the air down to, like I said, 35-40 degrees. Once it gets colder than that outside, you have to run the furnace. So you set the thermostat to furnace and then set the temperature on it. Okay. Hopefully that made sense. The radio is right here. It has Bluetooth and it has a remote also, but it has Bluetooth so you can stream wirelessly from your phone. AM, FM radio, you can stream off this USB so you can take all your favorite albums on one stick and take them all with you. This HDMI is an in, just so you know, goes into the system. And so on and so forth. It has all the functions an AM, FM radio would have with the saving stations and the usual stuff, okay? 2 speaker zones, 1 is inside the trailer, 2 is outside the trailer, okay? These are your light switches, and one of these, this one, let me make sure I got the right one here, let me get close to it. Alright, this one here is for your Wi-Fi Ranger, so I'll explain this to you as best I can. You turn this on, give it about a minute to warm up. So you look at this sticker here, the top line has the name of your Wi-Fi Ranger, Sky 4, I think it says 6825. So on your phone and all your family's phone and tablets, you'll put this you'll look for this because that's your Wi-Fi Ranger, and then you'll put a password in for it, so they all connect automatically, right? Then you go in a browser on your whatever device you're using and put this address in the browser, and it'll take you to the web page for this Wi-Fi Ranger. So once you're looking at that, you're going to be seeing everything the Wi-Fi Ranger sees, all the other Wi-Fi. So you would pick out the campground Wi-Fi, for example. If they gave you a passcode, you would put that in there and connect to it. So all your devices will connect to the Wi-Fi Ranger automatically, and then you have to manually pick out the public Wi-Fi you want to use and connect manually by going to this address here. Your temporary password has changed me now. I can't see that far really. 6826 maybe, but it's the middle line. So that's just a temporary password to get on. You're going to want to select something that everybody knows, of course. So the Wi-Fi Ranger is a really good thing to have. Everybody has to have Wi-Fi these days. The more bandwidth, the better, of course. That's obviously a 3-speed fan. It works really well when it's not cold enough to run the air conditioner, or wait a minute, when it's not when it's not warm enough to run the air conditioner. Okay, so but it does really, if you open the windows, it does an excellent job of pulling the heat right out. So okay, also this panel right here sits on these cleats right here, and you turn this into a full bed, a full-size bed if you want to. You can have 2 singles or a double. Okay, you can also store this underneath in that compartment that I showed you with the plastic table in it. It also will store under there, okay? Alright, so I think I've covered everything. Like I said, you can use the manufacturer setup videos. This is kind of supplemental, just goes over some of the features. But keep in mind, like I said, it has an air conditioner, which is a heat pump. That's this right here. That will air condition, or it can run in reverse and become a heat pump. It can also heat. But it only heats down to, 35-40 degrees, somewhere in there. After that point, you'd have to run the furnace, which is over here. All that's selected from the mode bar on this thermostat here, okay? Alright, I think I've got it all then. Okay, I want to thank you for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit. keep in mind what I said about inspecting the seals, and just make sure everything's in good shape. You do that, you know, every 90 days or so. Go through it, and when you're setting it up, just keep an eye on everything. Make sure it's good and tight. Okay. And of course, you have to winterize it when it gets cold outside before it gets freezing. You do that by raising this plywood top of this bench seat, and the bypass valves are in the back of the water heater. You'll have to educate yourself a bit about that if you're going to do it yourself. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.